itching down there. Despite copious sightings, the use of sniffer dogs, thermal drones, camera traps, Samba has proven particularly adept at avoiding detection. Why is Samba so elusive? The pictures that we have seen of her, she seems to be having a very good time. Let's talk to animal welfare campaigner Dominic Dyer. Hi Dominic, long time.
Hello, James. Good to speak to you again.
You too. What do you know about capybaras? They're the world's biggest rodents, right? They hail from South America, but this one seems to be adapting to the British environment very nicely.
Yeah, I'm in St James's Park. It's not turned up here yet. She's obviously very elusive. She could turn up in London at this rate, who knows. They can travel, very quickly at about 22 miles an hour. And they can stay underwater for 5 minutes, so they're great swimmers as well. They've obviously deployed dogs, they've used drones, they've used heat-seeking equipment to try and find her. She's not fully grown, so she's relatively small for a capybara. They grow much larger than this as adults. But she could live out there for, quite comfortably in the British countryside. I'm sure she's probably quite enjoying herself unless they can capture her.
Yeah, some of the pictures show that Samba, as like we're looking at now, is having the time of her life on the banks of the River Itchen, really enjoying herself. Some people have said, well, it's really nice for Samba because Samba clearly knows how to feed herself. So you've got fresh food. She's going swimming in the river, fresh food, and this could be very healthy for her because in the zoo they tend to get sort of processed pellets and all that. So maybe good news for Samba's welfare.
It could be two things really. We want to make sure obviously that she's safe out there in the wild. So I think anyone who's got dogs, by the riverbank needs to keep them on a lead. There could be a danger a dog could attack. Also, we've got a growing problem, Kevin, with young people using high-powered catapults to attack wildlife, swans, deer, foxes. It's a horrible business. I hope nothing like that will happen to this animal. I know there are some sick individuals out there that might see an opportunity because it's become famous worldwide to harm it. Let's hope that doesn't happen. If it is captured, I hope it can be returned and live safely in Marwell Zoo with its sister. But yes, it's a funny story. It's an engaging story. It's a beautiful animal. But let's hope it comes to no harm.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If anybody sees it, I mean, the other thing we should tell the public is, it looks very cute, lovely little thing, but be careful. They're not necessarily, they're not domestic pets, are they, capybaras?
No, they're not. And, any animal that's cornered could attack or bite. So you've got to be cautious, particularly when there's young children, things like that around. The chances are some angler's going to maybe see it or someone's going to come across it soon. And I think it probably will be captured safely and taken back to Marwell. But I think everyone's got to just be, alert and cautious and think about the safety of the animal and don't spook it. If they do come across it, they need to sort of let the police know, get the people from the zoo know what they're doing out to capture it safely.
And you said earlier that Samba is not fully grown. How big can these giant rodents grow?
They can grow to over 30 kilos in size. So this is a big animal. They are the biggest rodents in the world. So, this thing, when it was fully grown, would definitely get your attention, to be quite honest, in the British countryside. At the moment, I think it's only about a third of what size it would be if it was a fully grown adult.
And what kind of length are we talking about? 3 feet or something?
You could be talking around sort of, about 1.5 meters.
Wow, a metre and a half.
Yeah, it's a big animal. So, this is much bigger than a badger, for example, probably twice the size of a big male bull badger. They can grow to a fair size. So yeah, it's a pretty impressive animal. Not something we'd be used to seeing in the British countryside. If its sister was out there were others that... But, it's funny how animals can breed. Obviously mink escaped from fur farms, have done very well in the UK countryside. We've got wallabies out there that have escaped from zoos over the years, have now set up, in different parts of the country and doing very well for themselves. So animals can survive in our countryside like this. This one's on its own. It can't breed, of course. So at some point, I hope it will be found and it will be returned safely to captivity. But in the meantime, let's hope it enjoys itself in safety.
Absolutely. What do they feed on, Dominic?
Well, it'll just feed on vegetation, so there's plenty for it to eat on the riverbank. You can see this one there just grazing on the grass. So they're not meat eaters, so it'd be quite happy just to feed on whatever vegetation it can find. Springtime in Britain, there'll be plenty of food for it to find and forage and eat.
Well, that's good news. So the message is to any of you, if you do see Samba, be careful, because Samba's a wild animal. You could get in trouble yourself, and don't harm her. Leave her alone, report her to the authorities, and let's get her back into safety. It's a lovely story, but there are serious edges to it. And it's really good to talk to you again, Dominic. All the best, mate. Good to have you on the show.